Hello, everybody. We are here to talk about Online Survival 2, Episode 2, here with Meg, Aspen, Alex, maybe Mike a little later. How's it going?
It's a good
Going
episode.
good. It's going good.
It was a jam-packed episode, I will say.
A lot happened in this episode.
It was.
Yes. So we don't have a lot of time, but we're going to try and go over everything. And as usual, I want to start with ups and downs for anyone that wants to go first.
Man, Muggsy came from the bottom to the top, boy. Honestly,
'Cause you're
shout
up.
out to her. That fucking hard ass New York ass life done paid off for her, I guess, bro.
Shout out to her or shout out to Darstar?
Shout out to
Darstar
Darstar.
is my up. Darstar.
Shout out to
is my up.
Darstar.
Yeah.
I just mean she didn't get eliminated, and I for sure thought her ass was going home.
Yeah.
So
Darstar's
Darstar
my up.
Muggsy.
No, Darstar is the GOAT. He the GOAT of this episode, bro.
He is. I also have Ashley as up as well because I think Ashley had a very good episode of balancing because people were kind of thinking about her and she had a right read of who to go after. Like Typhon is the one person who didn't have the best vibes with Ashley, so for her to go with that vote is a really good idea.
How about downs?
Typhon, for sure.
I guess that's the obvious,
Typhon.
but
Yeah,
Tabitha,
for sure.
yeah.
Maybe Susan.
Yeah, because Susan just got
Yeah.
X'd out of her tribe too.
Yeah.
all fair. Well, we're going to start with the legends, and I guess we should start with the biggest thing, which is the four-person alliance. We got Rita kind of spearheading it, including Jason, Dom, Emily, where Rita wants to kind of be close to Dom, Jason close to Emily. How do you feel about this four?
They can do good things, I think.
If they can hold it together.
Rita's the downfall.
You think Rita's the downfall?
First of all, I do think the four of them will go far anyway. The four of them just seem like good players. But I think Rita, it's the funniest conversation is when Rita's talking to Jason and she's asking oh, should we let other people know about the four or whatever? And Jason's kind of just more let's keep it chill and low key. But Rita is not low key. She's the opposite of low key. She's asking questions about people's gameplay and then immediately telling Dom and Emily oh, this is a four. And so to me, I think Rita, the minute she gets a little bit of paranoia, which will happen eventually, she's gonna be willing to spill anything and everything to get herself out of it. So I'm happy for her. I'm excited to see her mess. But out of the four, she's the one that would break it, and I think she will.
The interview questions for her castmates was bold.
I would have been the first to be let's get Rita out of here.
Absolutely.
There's no fucking way I would.
Absolutely. So bold. I'm excited to see if she makes it to the merge. If the four of them make it to the merge, will they continue on together? Will Rita kind of go off and form other things and get the other three out, considering how strong she's going to see them play here in the beginning? I'm also excited to see her relationship with Muggsy, if the two of them ever together.
Yes.
I doubt that would happen.
I don't know. I think they could either be the biggest Clash or the biggest duo. Almost, I feel they would do it.
No, they're gonna clash for sure.
They're gonna clash, but I could also see them liking. I don't know. I have a weird feeling that the two of them wouldn't just not. I feel something's gonna happen, whether it's working together or not.
The other side of that coin is Susan, who a lot of people in the chat were upset because Susan was the main one wanted an alliance on this tribe, and then she's not included in the Big Four alliance. But I will say she never went to Rita with the alliance, and Rita was the one that spearheaded this alliance. Maybe that was her problem. But where do you think Susan stands on this tribe? Aspen, last week, I'll go to you first, because last week you said that you thought Jason was upset about Susan's performance in the challenge, and he was.
Exactly. Proves my point. I'm sorry, but Susan is at the bottom. She at the bottom of her tribe, and I mean, she nice. She nice, but I think it's only gonna get her so far. And Jason is like, let me keep it PG.
Go ahead. Make a PG-13.
Okay. Jason is like, this cunt is basically terrible.
That's PG-13.
That went from PG to R real quick.
Just stay on our Aspen. I don't care.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he definitely was like I said, if it came down to Homeboy would have showed up to the challenge and Susan performed how she did, they would have voted her ass off then.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. I mean, I do think, though, currently Riaz was still the one to go before Susan. I can't imagine the four of them coming together and being like, Susan's more of a threat. So I think
better this episode.
You said what?
Riazzo did much better this episode.
He did, though. That is
I thought
true.
he redeemed himself.
He did. I don't know. I like that tribe. Like, in general, like, I kind of, although I love the mess on the other side, the players that I kind of care about winning or, like, wanting to do well is the people on, We Are Legends. So, like, all of them, even Riaz a little bit, I'm like, I kind of want to see what they do individually. Everyone I kind of want to, like, root for. So, yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on the Family Feud challenge? Who stood out? Who messed up? There was some bad guesses at times.
There were some bad guesses. I don't know.
I mean, homegirl and her hockey, but it's because she's from the whitest place in America.
Not in America.
And you know what?
It's not even America.
Canada.
I actually just went to Canada. I literally just came back yesterday from Canada for the first time.
You were just talking about going to Canada last week.
And I went. But anyway, needless to say, I get the whole hockey thing. It's cold as fuck up there. It's rainy, but it is beautiful.
You know, a lot of them played when I think they should have passed.
Yes. Jason passing was one of the smartest ideas.
Yeah. I'm like, why are any of you playing right now? You have like 9 answers to guess for energy drinks. Like, ask that shit.
Yeah.
I know it. It was funny because when he was trying to get at one, I'm like, is he trying to say bang? Like,
yeah.
What is going on?
I was yelling Celsius. I was like,
that was my husband.
Celsius.
He's like, hello.
That was the obvious one that wasn't gotten to Riazzo. Speaking of Riazzo, though, what happens after, though, he gets chosen to make the big decision for the tribe and then doesn't show up to talk to Ashley.
He just gave Ashley. First of all, it's interesting that he chose someone who he didn't have any screen time with. And then he just gave Ashley a power, basically, which I love. I love seeing Ashley get powers. I'm a huge Ashley fan. I don't know why. I sense that she is going to be an important player in this season. I just have that gut feeling.
I ain't gonna lie. I know we're getting into it, but I kind of like Ashley too. She willed her way back in when she was like, "No, my family is like Muggsy. They act like her. Don't get it fooled, cause I calm it down for my little kindergarten kids."
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, fair.
Any other thoughts on Riazzo, though?
He's just so young.
He is young, but he pointed that out too. He knows that he's young, so hopefully he can take that. And I mean, he missed that chat though. I had higher hopes for him, and then he dipped out. But I thought he picked Ashley to be like strategic so that he could meet more people from that team, get a better idea of who everybody is. But then he didn't come, so
that's going to be his biggest issue, right? It's because he's so he just has so much going on. It's about showing up, because I do think he showed this episode that he is aware of who he is and aware of what people see him as, and that's very important to have the knowledge of what people perceive him as. So like he has a good head on the shoulders. I don't know if he can commit the way these others are committing. Like even if he showed up to chats, he's not someone who is after the chats thinking about the game. Like these other people who are on time for chats and like constantly in that one station for themselves, they're thinking about the game. Like after, right before, like they're prepared. Whereas Riazo, even though he's aware about who he is and how he's being perceived, he's not thinking of like what to do to improve his game. So like he's gonna be behind for most of the season. But I think that there's a chance for him to do something good for himself.
I can see him being the first gone if this tribe has to go to tribal council, because nobody wants to waste their time with somebody that's not going to show up to chats when you only have such a short amount of time each night to talk to everybody. Nobody's going to choose him.
Yeah.
They're not really going to,
Sure.
really take him seriously.
No, that boy Riazo, he just concerned about his next concert, his next basketball game,
Right.
whatever he's really having to do. What's up, Mike?
Can you all see me?
We
out here?
can.
All right. Awesome.
We're finishing up on We Are Legends. Tribe, do you have any thoughts on the 4-person alliance, or Susan on the out, or Riazo missing the secret chat with Ashley?
Did we do the ups and downs? Everyone do their ups and downs?
They did. What was yours?
So I'll just tie that in because it's very relevant to this. Is my 2 downs were both from this team.
Oh.
And to me, they were Susan, because she's sort of fallen out of the power hierarchy. And surprisingly enough, Jason. And I'm going to say that because he made a decision that really I thought was a bad decision. At the challenge, when he had 3 of his alliance members and 1 of his non-alliance members there, and it was time to make an important decision, he pushed the only person not in his alliance that he said he didn't like, didn't talk to make that important decision. So
Agreed.
I pushed him down for that. But just overall, on We Are Legends, quieter week because they didn't go to tribal. Poor Susan falling out of the hierarchy. But I think that 4-person alliance is going to be solid, and they're probably going to be the last 4 left from this tribe, unless there's a swap or a merge or something like that.
Any thoughts on Riazo?
He's struggling to connect with the team, as we've seen. Like, there's been some struggles. He said, like, the format is tough on me, and this is a tough format. You have to like pick who you talk to, and it's like really rapid fire. Like, you're back to back. Sometimes you're talking to people like one-on-one, and sometimes you're in groups, and you just really have to adapt on the fly. And like, I want to see a storyline where someone comes in, struggles with the format, and actually like learns it and succeeds, instead of coming in, struggling with the format, and just like bombing out. Because we've seen that storyline. I want to see someone overcome this and do well. Do I think Riazo's that player? Maybe not, but I hope that's what I want to see. Just for
Maybe
the
Mary's
fun of
that
it.
player.
I think Mary.
Mary-
If anyone, I think Mary might be that player.
Mike, your video is off. By
Yeah,
the
you're
way.
frozen.
Gotta go back to your phone, I think.
I thought it was my stuff, but then because Meg is still sitting in that same position you sitting in for 2 minutes too.
Meg is just sitting. Meg is.
All right,
I
I
was a
can
very-
drop out and go back to the phone.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Mike. I don't know
It's
why.
fine. All right.
Well, Mike does that. Any final thoughts on Legends?
Down.
Well, we move on to Vigilantes, who are another mess. Mav leaves. We don't really need to touch upon it because we're in a hurry. So we're going to discuss, first of all, I think Darstar and Muggsy. They have the whole modeling connection. And they seem to like each other, even though they're kind of opposites. But thoughts on those two?
Obsessed.
Mhm.
I was watching and I was like, there's no way that these two will pull this off. But I was like, but in this cast, like in this tribe, maybe they will. And so I was watching and I'm like, on paper, it shouldn't happen, right? Like Muggsy being so out and Darstar like not being as like he's very passive typically. I was like, there's no way this could work. Like, who are they gonna pull in? But I like how straightforward both Darstar and Muggsy is, and I think the key relationship in this episode is Ashley and Darstar. Without that type of like candidness between them two, this wouldn't have happened. So I give kudos to Darstar. I think he is much more like he's not as passive as people think he is, and that's really awesome to see.
Were you surprised that because for that beginning of the episode, Darstars was very social, going from compared to last week anyway, where he's talking to Muggsy, then he's trying to give a pep talk to Mary about don't be too quiet, and then he's talking to Ashley, who's trying to get kind of information from Darstar, which she wasn't able to, but she got a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think what I'm saying, I'm not surprised by the episode. Like when he's being shown as social, like it made sense. But I think what the perception was from the previous episode is that he is on the quieter side. No one knows where he's at, and so for me, it's really nice to see that like he is playing the game. It's just no one really knows how he's playing, right? Like I think each person, like Tabitha has no idea who Darstar is still, kind of, and Ashley doesn't really think of him as someone who led the charge there, but he did, you know. And I think that would be very interesting moving forward, is Darstar kind of being different than who he's being perceived.
I think he just like got comfortable. You know, the first night is awkward. The first conversations are awkward. And then after you have a few of those group chats and those nights where you pop in and out and it's a little bit more relaxed, like those nights can be long. And there are lots of conversations that go on in those like hop in, hop out chats where you really get to know each other. So I think he just got more comfortable, but it's a good play for him to come out this episode. He made this big move, but kind of on the sly. Like, I don't know if people realize in the game that he and Ashley just pulled off this like big move by keeping Muggsy around. And now he can kind of fade back and he can be a little bit more quieter, and he can just like, I think that he'll be good like coming in and out when he's needed to, if he can keep this path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
My two ups for this week are Darstar and Ashley. I think that like I was living for everything this episode from this tribe. It was amazing. I thought for sure, oh cool, here's the Muggsy Boot episode. Like here it is. Like I hope she goes out swinging because that's going to be fun. But like she is such a better character as someone who survives more than one elimination. And then like I was just happy to see what looked like the obvious power structure last episode just like crumble this episode. I'm a big fan of when everything just keeps getting turned around.
Yeah.
Ashley made Tabitha switch on her number one in like 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
That blew my mind. Like she
Me
just
too.
immediately was like, "Oh wait, you guys are all doing Typhon? Okay, well I guess I have no other choice."
Yeah,
Like,
there's
wow.
no conversation. There's no like, but what do you think about this? She's just like, oh yeah, he is shady. Oh yeah, he is kind of.
Like, oh, maybe you're right.
All
Maybe
right.
he is.
I'm like,
Here's
what?
where Muggsy gets her credit, because guess who called Tabitha Two-Faced? Muggsy, and guess what we saw?
Muggsy's not wrong. Like
Muggsy's not wrong on anything, really. Like
she just
straight
goes
up
about it really awkwardly, right? Like you don't just come out swinging like, oh, this person's Two-Faced. You slyly slip that in there.
No,
but
it's the New York way, bro. I'm telling
I
you.
understand, but
They got roaches the size of me and rats and shit. That's how they gotta be.
Oh, I was just in New York like 2 weeks ago, and they have big ass rats.
Stop. Yeah, it's true.
I really hope that we see a lot more of Muggsy, and I was really hoping that she wasn't going to go so soon because, like Mike said, she is such a great character to keep around. Like she has to be around more than one vote, and she's only going to get better and better and more dramatic. Like the deeper into these games you go, like we all know how like stressful and personal people can take these games and how intense we get about, you know, i.e. me and Mike. You know? So I'm super excited to see her just like really in the thick of it.
And I loved like Ashley seeing like Muggsy is abrasive, but guess what? She's straight up, and like I mostly know how she feels about me. Like and like, you know, Muggsy sat Typhon down and was like, "Why don't you like me?" Which was a pretty true like, "Hey man, like he didn't," and it was like, it was just good to see someone finally recognize, like, hey, sometimes you keep the person that is annoying, but you can trust them over the other people.
How do you think Typhon handled that little confrontation with Muggsy?
Oh, it was so cringe. I hate watching awkward situations between other people because it just
I love it.
So awkward.
Typhon
course-
handled
of course
that
you do, Alan.
horribly.
I thought it was hilarious. I was like, Typhon is not equipped to handle this for some reason. You know, like it was just very awkward. And to me, I do think Typhon is an interesting player. Like I think that he gives off that perception of like a leader and like super social and blah blah blah. But like in reality, I don't think of him as either. You know, I just think of him as someone who's an easy target, and which is why he was the first vote. So like I'm interested in seeing how he does it when he's on the other side. Like I don't know. Like I wonder how that changes the dynamic. But right now I don't really see Typhon as a player that gets anywhere in this game.
Do you think it would have been better, or how would it have been different if he was just like, yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like our personalities clash, or I haven't had great game conversations with you yet, but my mind can be changed. I can, be convinced otherwise.
That would have been better for Muggsy.
I truly believe he could have walked out of that conversation with an ally instead of remaining Muggsy's target.
Yeah.
But he did not go into that conversation willing to like meet her in any way. Like, and he was not expecting upfrontness. He was expecting to go, oh yeah, no, we'll work together and let's target Darstar. Like, he was just hoping to like, and instead he wasn't ready for that. And he could have, I genuinely believe, walked out of that conversation not being the boot, and like it could have ended up on Tabitha. I really think that
his ego.
Well, and she turned around and was like, still kind of talking game with him, like. Yeah. What do you think about this person, that person, after they had that awkward kind of intro to their chat? So I think she handled it well.
She was fine. She just called him out and tried to see how he handled it, right? Like, if you're two-faced, you're going to continue to lie about it and not be genuine. And that's what he did. He basically fell into her trap almost. And for me, I just think that if he is just someone who thinks he's on top in that moment, like he thinks Muggsy is on the bottom, so there's no need to like be honest with her, and that's where his kind of game falls apart. Is like he underestimates people. He thinks Mary is so quiet, so he can just pull her in as a number, but not an actual ally. And although Mary was with him in this round, like it's just because they talk the most. It wasn't because she feels valued by him. That's always going to be his issue, unless he changes it up in the other tribe. He has to value people as like he can't just value Tabitha as the only.
He's gonna get eaten alive on the Legends.
Agreed.
Another thing Typhon needs to not do going forward in this game is put out almost everybody as a target, because the first episode he's naming Mary, Muggsy, and this episode he's naming Ashley.
Yeah.
It was Mav, I guess you want to count him too. He was naming almost most of the tribe at some point in his first episode.
That was a crazy bag fumble. He had a solid like 3-person like alliance, and like that's half the tribe at this point after the quit. Like he had it all made, and he just couldn't like maneuver it at all. Like he could have done something to make Tabitha not feel like he's wishy-washy, like now Muggsy just like totally read that situation, and it was so good to see it all come together.
I know.
Now the twist, was that Darstar's choice, or
yes.
Okay, so he knew what was going to happen.
Well, he didn't know exactly what the twist meant.
Yeah, I don't think he operated as if he knew that Typhon was not voted out, because like
he just picked like the title of the twist. Okay, all right.
Speaking of Darstar, one more thing I want to go over. I'll ask, I guess you, Aspen. Do you like his strategy of he doesn't want to trust anyone? Do you think he's going to stick by that? Do you think he trusts Muggsy?
I think he trusts Muggsy, but he trying to just make it seem like he don't trust nobody. And because I don't know honestly, I think they got that like you said, that little model connection. Like they was at the same event. Like when does that ever happen in these games?
Yeah.
So there was like a switch up.
Yeah. And I was like, interesting. But I mean, I like what he doing. I think he playing hard. He playing hard. I hate to say it, but I don't even want to see his downfall. I'm sure it's gonna be something.
I think he like when he talked to Ashley, like he did a really cool move of like we can get Muggsy out. Like he was trying to make sure that Ashley wasn't thinking of like them two as such a tight duo. Whereas, in my opinion, I think those two are the more duo versus Ashley and Darstar. But the way Darstar presented to Ashley was very much like, hey, like, we can get Muggsy out next round, but I think this round is better to get out Typhon. And that's really smart. And I think whether he meant it in that way, I think he did. It's just a really good move. And I think Ashley, like, no one's going to think it was Darstar's move, even though he kind of put them all together, right? Like, he pushed them all in that direction. So
it's okay to not trust anyone in these games. You shouldn't trust anyone in these games. Every single person that plays these games is in it for themselves. That's exactly what it's about. But you have to make people trust you.
Yes.
And I think he did well with that in this episode. You also can't let the distrust of others lead to paranoia.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I guess let's go back to the Tabitha Mary Typhon alliance. And Mike, where do you actually think it went wrong with Tabitha? Why do you think she did switch up on Typhon at the last minute, vote him out?
I think the answer is pretty self-explanatory, and it's exactly what Muggsy stated. Tabitha is two-faced. Like, and like, I'm not. This isn't like a character judgment, but like, you can just read some people are just wishy-washy, and they're going to like. All right, think of Big Brother as the show if you know anything about it. How many times I just need to vote with the house, even though like that's the attitude we're seeing. And as soon as 3 people were voting a certain way, immediately folded in 5 seconds later, was like fully on board voting out your number 1 ally. Like, sometimes that works well for people's games, as some of us in this chat know, and sometimes it doesn't work out and you put yourself in the bottom for no reason.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just the way that Tabitha chose to play the game. And for we'll see if it works out. I don't think it's the way to play the game, but who knows?
Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, it depends on Mary. Like, if Mary calls her out about it, then Tabitha's done. But I do think what's interesting is that, Ashley and Darstar think that Tabitha is working with them. So, like, it really depends on how she handles the fallout. If Mary is able to, like, articulate why she voted that way and she thought Tabitha was with them, then Tabitha's probably done.
If she can articulate it to Muggsy, because that's the person that she needs to talk to about it.
Yeah.
And we know damn well she's not going to.
I know. She's not going to.
I mean, do you think that Tabitha could get through to Muggsy the way Muggsy feels about Tabitha?
No. Blondes don't like blondes, bro.
Yeah.
Meg, my question was, though, how do you think both Tabitha and Mary should play this now? Because Mary was not on the right side of the vote, and Tabitha was, but she voted out one of her stronger allies on the tribe.
So from Mary's point of view, I think she needs to do what Alex is saying. She needs to go back and she needs to articulate that the only reason that she voted the way that she did is because she was told by Typhon and Tabitha that that's the way that the vote was going. Yeah. And she wanted to be on the right side of the vote, and she just wasn't, and eat that and keep moving on. For Tabitha, I don't know. I understand why she did what she did, but because I've done it.
Yeah.
So I want to say by vote 2, if it's going to further your game, right, to go with the majority. And what's hurting her, though, is that Typhon's still in. Right?
Yeah.
What hurt me is that Mike came back. Like, you have to be careful of these things happening, right? Because it's a possibility, and, they always do. But I don't think it's a bad move. How much of a number 1 could her and Typhon have been? I don't think we saw enough conversation with them that I truly believed that they were like a solid duo. Like, we have seen some super game talk coming from Jason and Rita and Darstar and Muggsy. And we haven't really seen too much game talk with Tabitha and Typhon. It's more just like her agreeing with what he's saying.
Yeah.
And maybe she saw the sinking ship and wanted an out.
I think I'll use Ashley more as an ally than Typhon, in my opinion.
maybe I would hear that argument, but like if you look at the list of everybody but Ashley on the tribe, Tabitha and Darstar didn't have a one-on-one ever.
Right.
Tabitha and Muggsy is, we all know how that's going. And then Tabitha was cool with pulling Mary into the alliance, but I don't remember them being particularly close.
No,
So if not Typhon, it has to be Ashley, or maybe you just don't have a number one. Like not everybody has a number one in their game. Like they're just like a anybody but me. She could be trying to play the anybody but me game, which I don't think is good, but she could be trying to do it.
But if she would have stuck with her original tribe, it would have been split vote.
It would have been a tie, and then I guess she would flip. It would have been worse, maybe. I don't know.
You never want to be the person who flips in a tie. If you force a tie, and then you believe that one of the three people on the other side has a reason to flip, because if you just hold solid, you play a game of chicken, and then if it works, you're in the top three of a small tribe, and I think that's a great spot to be in. Now she's in the bottom two with someone in the majority alliance. I don't know how tight Muggsy is with everybody actually, but who really doesn't like you. Someone else in the majority who you've never had a one-on-one with. And then you got Ashley. Like, sure, yeah, you're close to Ashley, but is that going to be enough?
Well, and she's flipped on Mary, and she has somebody now on the other tribe who she's, done dirty to. So who knows what he's going to be over there saying about her. She's not going to have a...
Does he know that it's Tabitha? Like, why do I feel like...
I feel like he has to be smart enough to know that it's Tabitha.
I feel like he's going to think it's Mary. Straight up. I think he's going to think it's Mary.
I think he trusts Tabitha more for some fucking reason.
I think he does. I think he really bought that Tabitha was with him. And I really think he's going to assume it's Mary. And maybe he doesn't make a merge and he never finds out. Maybe he makes a merge and Mary's gone and Tabitha lies, or vice versa, and Mary tells the truth. Maybe he believes it, maybe he doesn't. But I think he's going to make the assumption that it was Mary.
Yeah.
Alex, you put Ashley as your top this week. Where do you think she stands after this vote? Because you got Dar and Muggsy. She does have this connection with Dar and Tabitha.
She has the clear path to the merge. She has a clear path forward. There's no world where Ashley goes home now, because I think, there's Mary and Tabitha trying to figure out like how to get back into the group. Muggsy is not necessarily the most connected, even though she got saved. Darstar trusts her. Like I don't see a world where Ashley goes home. So I think Ashley needs to just kind of let people do their things, come to her about it, and she can make the next decision. Because I think so far, like, she hasn't betrayed anybody. Like, she did a really good thing of mentioning, I'm voting, like, because she heard both plans. I'm voting Typhon. She said it out loud, so like Tabitha doesn't feel burned by it or anything like that. So yeah, I think she has the best case to move individually.
Lastly, Typhon with the twist will be going to Legends, not out of the game. What is the way he should play this? How can he change his game from what he did on this team going into that team?
Like you said, he need to go in and not act like he is finna be calling all the damn shots. He need to sit back, relax, and listen.
Mm-hmm. And don't target everybody.
Yeah. Hey, but my phone finna go dead. I'm out.
All right, later, Aspen.
Peace.
I will say one of my favorite parts of the episode is when Darstar is telling Typhon that he's like seen as a leader in this tribe, and Typhon's just shocked that could be a possibility.
So bad.
I actually truly believe that going into another tribe, having just been voted out by the other tribe, I think that's actually a better position than you might think just from hearing that description. Because most of the time, tribes are already, and this is a tribe that's already gone to tribal. So you are coming in, and you assume there's some alliances and there's some battle lines, and someone somewhere is going to want to pick you up. You just have to be like just the right level of like passive that you don't be seen as you're trying to take charge, but active enough that people are going to try to work with you. And I like someone somewhere is going to feel threatened, and maybe they're going to try to get the numbers to make a move against someone that they feel is threatening. And you are like the perfect number because you don't have preconceived notions. And they're like, oh my God, I can get the great first impression. Maybe Susan, I don't know that she will. Maybe Susan can be like, oh my God, I kind of feel like I'm not in an alliance. Like, this is my chance. And they try to pick up Typhon and like take control of things. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I think that this is a better position than it looks at on paper.
And it's a good person to bring with you to the merge who you might feel strongly that isn't going to flip over to the other side because the other side's already done him wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's not my favorite thing to hear right now because of the tribe. I'd rather him go again. But I do think that is the most, like, I would do that. Like, I would pull him into. I wouldn't take him out again because why, right? So I think Typhon.
We lost you for a second, Alex.
I think we lost everyone.
Any final thoughts on the episode that we didn't talk about?
Does the other team get a new player?
Yeah, what's with that? Who is that?
I guess you'll have to find that out in the next episode.
What is this, the circle? They're just coming in like a few weeks later. Like,
it's me, surprise.
They're
right?
Meg was in all along. Any predictions you want to make for the next episode?
Wait, can I just... Does Muggsy keep her vape on a chain around her neck?
Oh, I didn't even notice that. What?
Yeah, it's like her necklace. Which, honestly, on one hand is like really sad, but on the other hand,
never lose it.
That has one, it's like, that's a really good idea because you lose that shit all the time.
All the time. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I think Ashley's the winner of our season. But that's not next week's prediction. That's just overall.
Cool.
Oh, Ashley's so smart. Like, it's hard this early. Like, so many things can happen. As we just saw, someone who looked like they were well positioned just went home. Mm-hmm. But like, Ashley is in a great spot. Has a super powerful advantage. Like, it's a good prediction.
Yeah.
Which team do you want to lose the next challenge?
Want to lose? I think either Tabitha or Typhon are gone next. Like, those are going to be the votes.
I kind of hope. I'm hoping for that too.
I think Riazo is going to be on the chopping block first. Now, maybe we do see the comeback, but like,
yeah,
before Typhon, like maybe someone they just go, oh, it would be in poor taste to vote him out back to back. So maybe.
I can also see Typhon like starting off really good and like everyone's like, oh, let's use him. But because he's such a like type of person who just throws out names and everything, like it just becomes a liability. So I kind of want to see that again, just like him flaming out once more after being in a good position.
You already have a solid 4, and then you have this like Susan off to the side who's like has okay.
They're not threatening. Like the outsiders are not threatening enough for the 4 of them to be like, let's use Typhon to take out one of these 2. Like, why not keep it strong for the 6 of them, right? If they can just delay their, vote out another week. I would do that too for that.
If you're in the majority alliance and you don't feel a connection with somebody and you get a new person and you feel like there's a chance they work with you, why not pick that person over them? Like, it's you have to be willing to adapt.
That's true.
And I would not be surprised to see Jason sit there and go, Riazo, I know I told him to make the important decision, but he's got to go. He could have an advantage now. Maybe that was a strategy. I doubt it was that well thought out, but I think that's plausible.
All right. Well, we will have to wait and see. We will end it there for this week. Until next week.